points that have been accumulated. You still have to make it work. You still have to try and go through the motions. But at least if something does go wrong in the superheat, it doesn't necessarily mean your weekend is over. So let's go through the starting grid for Superheat 1A in the OK Juniors. It is Oleksandr Bondarev and Dries van Langendonk, Tibor Ramekes and Stepan Antonov, Jacopo Martinez and Tiziano Monza, Mies Huben and Noah Wolf from Alfie Slater and Scott Lindblom, Kit Belowski and Merel Beldez from Andy Consani and Noah Montero, Maria Nito and Alexander Chartier. Then Sebastian Lettemaki and Arthur Braun from Lewis Francis and Jensen Burnett, David Kozma and Boris Liesen, Kian Fardin and Jindro Pejel, Jing Hojai and Moredo Doroca from Tom Pappenburg and Travis Teo, Marcus Schilkunas and Oscar Repetto, Cara Firhand and Mark Gerstenkon from Santoro Panetta, Marie Barryberg, Gabriel Kunekan and Kosei Oguma.
Busy old grid, 18 rows, 36 karts out there, but let's talk about, like you were saying, the intermediate classifications of how and when the drivers will go up into the finals later on today when we take both of the superheats and put them together. At the moment, sitting in 36th in the intermediate classifications is Alp Aksoy. Just behind him in 37th is Lewis Francis for Kart Republic. He needs 5 points gained over this one to get himself up into that top 36. It's a very tense moment down there in that sort of setting. So really, throughout these races, yes, we look at the front. We also need to look at the back of the grid and see who is gaining positions, because they will make it into the finals.
Yeah, it is brutal and it is tough, and there are no second chances. This is your one shot to get yourself into the final, so everybody knows what is expected of them. Oleksandr Bondarev and Dries van Langendonk from the front end of the grid, and then Tibor Ramekes, Stepan Antonov, Jacopo Martinez and Tiziano Monza will give chase to the first turn. This is when things go from reasonably exciting to fever pitch. They come off the final turn in the tram lines. Lights go out straight away. We're under starters orders. Perfect start from the inside line. Tibor Ramekes already starting to threaten Bondarev into the first corner as the inside line makes the big jump. So it's Bondarev, Ramekes, Martinez, Hubert and Slater. They absolutely charge through to the top 5. Van Langendonk finds himself languishing back in P6 as everybody works their way through. There's a little bit of argy-bargy in the middle. 1 or 2 drivers going slightly airborne, but managing to land on all 4 wheels, and with the kart still kart-shaped. So as they come through onto the back straight, it's already looking pretty exciting up the front end of the field. Bondarev under pressure from Ramekes.
Perfect start from the inside row. The outside row with Dries van Langendonk leading that one just did not get away from the start-finish line.
Technical flag on the very first lap. Marie Barryberg, the privateer from Norway, unfortunately has picked up a technical on the very first lap. So I wonder if she's either lost a side pod or a front fairing early doors.
Well, there's already karts going off here in the mid-pack section, but yeah, certainly not the way you want to start your day.
Bondarev down in 3rd.
Yeah, he's now having to gain a few positions here now. Well, Bondarev then not leading the way. Ramekes is certainly a good start for him. He's under pressure, though, from Martinez, who is all over that rear bumper. And again, this could be the story all the way throughout this race. The two of them on identical karts, and they will push all the way to the end of this race, but certainly it's going to be a very interesting run and change. Martinez down the inside, and he gets the lead of this race. A solid start.
They've got to be so careful, these two. They're obviously teammates and running in the same colours. So Martinez and Ramekes in the same morning. They've got to be so careful that they don't trip each other up in their quest to win the superheat. But Jacopo Martinez has got through. It looks like Martinez is not the only one to get past, because Bondarev has also got through Ramekes with a little bit of hesitation from Mies Huben. Alfie Slater's got Dries van Langendonk now alongside him as he's come through. So Van Langendonk trying to get through on the inside of Mies Huben, and he's there. That was brave from Van Langendonk. Slater cuts through on the inside line, so too does Tiziano Monza. So some big moves there. Mies Huben is left hanging out to dry.
Yeah, Kit Belowski on the outside there just manages to get in the train as well. So he's up a couple of positions in this one. He's had a good start. Train really starting to form here now as they dive down into it. And Belowski again down the inside getting the move done. I think that was on Tiziano Monza, and I think he has managed to get that one done. Mies Huben in that fray as well. Certainly it's getting very tight and very dramatic at the front here again as people try to make the moves. Change for second place as it looks like Bondarev now back up into that top spot. No, it's Ramekes who's back up into the second place spot. Now it's Van Langendonk in 3rd place. He has recovered well, though, from that bad start, and the rest of the field, and they've actually started to break away now from the rest of the field.
This is going to be interesting. You've got Monza, Slater and Belowski having a terrific battle, and Slater's gone up over the top of Monza! Oh, very unfortunate as Slater tries his luck on Tiziano Monza. The gap didn't seem to be there, and poor Tiziano Monza and Alfie Slater go out of this race on only lap 4. Big disappointment for both men.
I think Tiziano Monza's radiator will have been destroyed from that one. I saw the plumes of water kicking up in the air, so I don't think he wants to keep that one going. And no, he has pulled over at the side of the circuit and he is out of this race. Slater, though, is trying to get his car pushed off the grass and give it a go, but he has run out of steam and he can't do it. Change, though, for the lead as Martinez holds on to it, and Ramekers was down the inside trying to get that position done. He couldn't quite do it. Van Langendonk has latched onto that rear bumper, though, and the top three are very, very close.
We've got an argument down the main straight between Andy Consani and Mies Huben. Andy Consani was not happy at all with the lack of space that Mies Huben gave him, and so he was gesticulating down the straight as Dries Van Langendonk makes the move on the inside of Timo Ramekers. Ramekers is in the lead. Van Langendonk now second, so Martinez down to third. Bondarev sets the fastest lap. Fifth place is now Belovski, and then sixth is Huben, in front of Consani, I do believe. No, it's now Scott Lindblom. So Lindblom has made his way through to seventh place in front of Consani, when then Nito and Montero. Warning flag comes up for the 82, and that is obviously going to come with a 5-second penalty attached to it. So that is disastrous for one driver in the field, and that is Tiziano Monza. Now, that's a big call, actually.
Well, there we go. But, you know, I'm looking here, and I think a driver who is in trouble is actually Stepan Antonov, the driver in the 69, who is currently in 15th place. He started this one on the second row in P4, and he's second in the championship. He needs to get a wiggle on here if he wants to gain any more championship points. Remember, championship points have already been awarded for the qualifying heats that we saw yesterday. We are going to be seeing some more at the end of the super heats, and of course, crucially, the 30 championship points at the end of the final, plus the fastest lap point.
So Ramekers leads the way from Dries Van Langendonk, the Belgian in the Forza Racing car. Bondarev having worked his way past Martinez into third position. This is not disaster area for Bondarev by any means at all. Being in the top three will more than happily give him the pole position. Here's a replay of Slater going up and over the top of Tiziano Monza, and you can see there the water billowing out of the radiator on Monza's kart. I said to see him being given the warning flag, that's tough. That's a tough call.
Certainly, but they've got better eyes on the incident from what we do. There's a nice little change there down the inside.
Bondarev to second, so he gets the move then on Van Langendonk. And watch Martinez. Martinez's got a brilliant run on the Belgian now. He's going to try diving up the inside into third position. Bellissimo, fabulous job there from Martinez to get into third place.
Yes, indeed. Nice little change. And Van Langendonk certainly is having to work hard in this race. Bondarev, though, doing exactly what he needs to do. He took the maximum points in the junior class yesterday after 5 out of 5 race wins. If we could win this one, that would certainly help his championship fight. He sits 5th in the point standings. He's about 50 points behind Lewis Werrell in the standings. And there is still plenty of points up for grabs over the course of the year. It is still doable.
Let's give some kudos to the man who is currently chasing after the quartet in 5th position. Kit Belovski has suddenly this weekend turned his form around. He's really clicked with the OK Birolart now. And on the back straight, he is absolutely chasing after Ramekers, Bondarev, Martinez, Van Langendonk. This is definitely Kit Belovski's best weekend in the category so far, as the number 71, the Birolart red and white machine, finds himself closing down on these guys. We've got yellow flags up at turn 5. And we've got a couple of karts there having gone. It is one of the Pragas by the look of it. And also the 138 has gone. I'm afraid that is Tom Pappenburg. So it looks like Chartier and also Jing Haozhai has gone off the road at the same time. So that's actually a 3-kart incident.
Yeah, that is not what you need, especially in the middle point of this race. And they have certainly had a scrap. They were all running right next to each other as well, so something tells me one went for the move and then someone got caught up in it as well on the way in. So not what you want to see, but it is what it is, and that will certainly bring an end to their super heat. We'll hopefully see them out later on today, but that's certainly going to make it very difficult for them. Stepan Antonov now with the fastest lap of the race. He is still pushing his way through the field. He is now in P14 on the recovery drive back to the front of the grid as we keep our eyes on this battle here for P3. And Langendonk still over the rear bumper of Jacopo Martinez, who is just doing exactly what he needs to do here. He's had a pretty solid weekend, has Martinez. Started this one on the 3rd row. His worst result this weekend has been a 15th. His best result was a 2nd. He qualified P8, and he sits 6th in the championship. So he's certainly doing what he needs to do this weekend to gain those championship points.
So the warning flag for the previous incident, there goes the way of Jang Haozhai. So it's unfortunately him that's deemed the one that gets the warning flag and the 5-second penalty that goes with it. Not that it changes anything, because he's out of the race. So on the far side, we have Ramekers leading the race. Bondarev in second position. Third is Martinez. Fourth is Dries van Langendonk. And in fifth position, it is Kit Belowski. If the race were to end like this, then Bondarev would end on 319 points. A very respectable score. That's 319, by the way, out of a possible 325. So the only thing he wouldn't have won is this heat. Check this out between Tom Pappenborg and Alex Chartier. Chartier is fuming. Pappenborg is blameless as far as he's concerned. And two very unhappy campers.
Well, there you go. Again, just shows how much it means to these drivers to make it into the final. Remember, making it into a final over the course of these weekends is not an easy thing to do. And these drivers certainly showing that they have a true passion for the sport, even at a young age. And that's fantastic, you know, and that's why we always say, even when the drivers get older, they always come back to the world of karting because it is just the place where they are born as a racing driver.
We've got near on 100 drivers bidding for 36 seats, so getting into the final and the 36 remaining places in the weekend, that is a victory in and of itself. Just getting there is a massive achievement when all of these drivers that are gathered from all over the world have to bid for those spots. 2 to go. Ramekers has driven beautifully in this one out in front. No major mistakes at all for the young Belgian, as he has really mastered himself into a winning position up front. He continues to make that massive progress. This is his coming-of-age year, isn't it, Thibaut Ramekers? He's had his moments in the past, and he's certainly looked pretty quick in his days as a cadet, in his days as a mini, and here he is as a junior, and he is definitely a major force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, he was very dominant at the start of the season this year. It's dropped a little bit off on the middle stage, but like you say, it's just one of those things, isn't it? You can have your on moments, you can have your off moments, and every driver goes through those, but he is certainly making sure that this weekend he is on top form, and he is doing just that. 1.1 seconds clear here from Bondarev, who right now has not got anything left in the bag to really retaliate here as we go on to the final lap. That gap now 1.2 seconds. Thibaut Ramekers leading by quite some way.
And this is all fine and dandy as far as the Belgian is concerned. It's going to raise him to a score of 265, only about 27 points back from Dries van Langendonk. It really gives him the chance to fight for the victory in the final later, and that's where you get the big points. So Thibaut Ramekers, he has timed it to perfection this morning. He was quick in warm-up. He's very quick indeed in the race here. He doesn't need to push himself too much into a corner. He's kept it nice and tidy. His rivals Bondarev, Martinez and Van Langendonk have been well and truly squared away by the Kart Republic on this occasion, and the Belgian talent Thibaut Ramekers will come off the final turn, take the checkered flag, and in fight style it's Thibaut Ramekers that gets the job done ahead of Bondarev, Martinez, Van Langendonk and the young Brit Kit Belowski. Some brilliant racing there in the top 5, but for Thibaut Ramekers, he has proven, and he is the first one to prove this week, that Bondarev can be beaten.
Oh, yes, indeed. He can be beaten. That would be the first time that Bondarev has not had a top spot, but certainly he is in good step, though, for the final later on today. He has 319 points to his name as he goes back in towards Parc Ferme. Certainly a good way to start the day. Superheat 1 done and dusted then, like we were saying. Ramekers from Bondarev, Martinez from Van Langendonk, Belowski, like you're saying, with that brilliant finish. Great result, 6 places gained from Scott Lindblom. Maria Neto finishing within the top 7, 8 positions gained, finishing in that P7 from Noah Wolf. David Cosma with 12 positions gained, finishes in 9th from Noah Montero, rounding out the top 10. Recovery job on its way, and it will be a bit of a time before these karts are recovered, because we had several retirements in that one. Actually quite a few. What was that, about 8 retirements? That was a very busy race.
Certainly was. Thibaut Ramekers taking the win then from Oleksandr Bondarev, Jacopo Martinez ahead of Dries van Langendonk and Kit Belowski. Scott Lindblom, Maria Neto doing well in 7th place there in front of Noah Wolf. Then David Cosma and Noah Montero, Mies Huben and Stepan Antonov from Adi Consani, Lewis Francis and Jensen Burnett of Canada. Then it is Jendro Beschel in front of Murilo Doroca, Merel Peldes and Kian Fardin. Then Oscar Repetto and Marcus Shilkunyas. Travis Teo, the Malaysian, in front of Sebastian Letimaki of Finland. Then Mark Gerstenkom, Santana Panetta, Kosai Oguma. And then in